Ben Shapiro is back again talking about Brian Thompson, the UnitedHealthcare CEO that was, whatted. And he says the media is justifying violence by calling Brian Thompson evil. Now, I personally have not seen the media call him evil, but I guess we can talk about it. The comments are amazing again. Ben ignoring us like how health insurance ignores us. Facts don't care about your benefactors, Ben. Aren't Palestinians people too? Aren't civilians in Gaza people too? I don't care about the left versus right movement. The biggest bootlicker of all time, they're calling Ben Shapiro. People feel less divided on the internet just talking about healthcare in general. Did people vote in accordance with their values on healthcare and what they want for healthcare? No. They let Donald Trump win, who wants to make healthcare worse, but will take some concessions, at least. And this is showing Democrats you should message on this issue. Even people that are not online, people that I see just randomly, like normies, who don't watch politics on the internet 24/7, even normie Democrats and Republicans are telling me, like, I'm indifferent about what happened. Because every single person has a terrible experience with private healthcare. I should probably say health insurance, not healthcare, because those are two very different things. But anyways, let's get into this reaction, review, response, whatever.
The only way that you kill somebody like Brian Thompson is by suggesting that he is motivated not by a desire to keep the company working and operative in a very difficult regulatory environment.
Okay, that's the issue, though, because you said Brian Thompson, if you don't like him, you're saying that he's not motivated to support the company's goals. That's the entire point, is that corporations in healthcare or health insurance right now are dedicated to the bottom line, to making money, to making the stock price go up, to make the money machine go burr. They don't care about producing patient care. Just Ben Shapiro's framing right here. Brian Thompson, if you don't like him, you're saying he's not doing his duty to his company. That's the issue. He's doing his duty to his company. He's not doing his duty to patients. And it's not Brian Thompson's fault for the healthcare system. Any company in capitalism, it's their job to make as much money as possible. They don't care about resources. They don't care about people. They don't care about anything except making money. That's why you need regulation. That's why you need systems that are better. But the thing is, you talk about private health insurance companies doing this difficult job of managing risk pools and denying claims or approving claims, and they have to deal with, health care providers on costs and everything. That's their job, to negotiate costs down. And if they cannot do that effectively, they shouldn't complain. They spend money to make sure we don't get a universal system in America. Every other country in the world has a universal system. Costa Rica has a universal system. Canada, France, Australia, a bunch of different forms of universal healthcare, but everyone is covered, and they have better healthcare results than America does, although we spend more money. The issue is most of our money, or a lot of our money, goes to administrative costs, which is much more under private health insurance, and also goes to profits. No dollar that we pay in healthcare should go to profits. All of it should go back into care.
Environment with a bizarre system of subsidies and administrative details and all the rest of that. And you can disagree with his decisions, think they're wrong, but that's the actual. Instead, what you do is you say he's evil and he's just trying to maximize profit. Once you start saying the evil profiteers are trying to harm Americans, like that's their goal. Their goal is to harm, and I'm telling you this.
It's not their goal. Companies are amoral. Saying someone's evil is probably not true, but saying someone is sort of just having this moral dilemma and they're bypassing feeling bad about denying claims or about bombing different countries. If you just say, well, it's a fact of the world, that is still a bad system. That's still an evil system. And I don't blame individuals for systemic issues, but having healthcare be for profit automatically leads to the situation where companies, by their nature, just by the free market nature, we don't need to get into any emotional talk, by their free market nature, their incentives are going to be restricting care and making money. That is their incentive system. And Obamacare, the ACA, Affordable Care Act, only made that issue slightly better by facilitating a private market.
It's on both sides of the aisle. It is on the left predominantly, but there's a swath of people on the right who are also doing this routine. It's ugly. Now, I will say that there are elites who have lent credibility to this particular argument through their malfeasance. I think COVID had a lot to do with this. You had people like Anthony Fauci who were giving the platonic lies to the American public. Lying.
It's Fauci's fault that people want healthcare. It's Fauci's fault, yeah.
For their own purposes, in many cases, quashing their political opposition. But the generalized argument...
Quashing their political opposition.
That is made too much...
He's trying to win back the right-wingers, dude. Bringing up Fauci is 100% just to, rein in the right-wingers. Don't get too crazy, guys. Remember, we all hate Fauci.
Quashing their political opposition. But the generalized argument...
Remember COVID?
Is made too much in politics, and it does boil the pot. It leads to an increasing temperature that justifies violence. Is this language that disagreements on policy are not because of a pragmatic inability to come to a conclusion or starting from different first principles or using logical deductions that end up with different conclusions. No, the actual reason that, for example, the healthcare system is a mess is because Brian Thompson is an evil person who is trying to kill grandma, right? Or the reason that the oil companies are attempting to pump more oil is not because there is high demand for carbon-based fossil fuels, because it's still the most effective form of energy production on the planet. It's because...
Well, we need to regulate oil companies too for that same reason, because they don't care about the planet, they don't care about lives, they don't care about ecosystems. They will destroy the planet if it means making money in the short term. Capitalism is good at making short-term money or mid-term money. They don't care about long-term planning at all, and if people die in their pursuit of making profits or whatever, they don't care as long as it's legal. If there's no law to hold companies accountable or no regulations, they're going to do bad things. There's been no company that just said, oh, I'm not going to do an oil spill because I feel bad about it. They don't have feelings. They just make money.
Because they want to destroy the earth and don't care about destroying the earth. Right?
Well, they do not care. That's true. They don't care, unless if it goes against their profits. So, they'll convert the green energy when they absolutely need to, at the very last second when we have global crop failure. But yeah, they don't care about that. But it's just how companies work. It's just business, guys.
Or the reason the bank denied your loan is not because the bank looked at your loan, assessed the risk, and found that it wasn't worth the price. It's because the bank manager is actually Mr. Potter and is trying to deny your...
Okay, restricting healthcare coverage and health insurance is much different from approving bank loans, okay? And that has a lot of predatory nature as well. But we're talking about healthcare, a necessity. We're not talking about, gambling or sports or credit cards or going on vacation or getting approved for a new mortgage. We're talking about something that is very explicitly about someone's survival. People that have cancer, diabetes, whatever you can name for health conditions, mental health issues, like all these things are covered under health insurance. And that should not be for profit. There's a reason America's the only country that has such a far-right healthcare system. And the only reason our system is ranked like 13th in the world is because we spend so much dang money on it. We spend so much money on it, we have a handicap to help us do better.
Your bank loan because he himself is evil. Now, this sort of stuff does get politicians where they want to go very often. Because the easiest form of politics is to label your political opponents motivated, not by mistake, but motivated by actual sociopathic Darth Vader style evil. People just...
The systems in place are a little bit sociopathic. They only care if the consumers care, if it affects their bottom line. That's the only reason companies cared about Black Lives Matter, because they thought it was going to affect their bottom line, or LGBT issues. They didn't do that for funsies. They didn't do that because they actually cared. They only supported these movements because they knew that was going to help them make money in the long term. And they didn't want to be held for any civil rights violations when they found out that the CEO was super racist or whatever. So companies hired DEI consultants to come in and talk about microaggressions. These companies are not genuine. They just want to make money. That's 100% true. We have so many examples of companies just bypassing regulations when they don't need to, just so they can make more money, and bypassing regulations, making things more dangerous, deciding to make cars more dangerous, planes more dangerous, medications more dangerous, knowingly, and like giving them to the public and not talking about it because they know they're going to make money off it, and they know the profits they make are going to overwhelm any lawsuit they might have in the future if there's any issues.
Want to do bad things to you. But this does lead to higher levels of violence across the board. And one of the things that's sort of amazing in the right-left breakdown is, depending on who is doing the justifying, using the exact same logic, you'll see one side or the other justify it. So, for example, when Bernie Sanders, back in 2020, says that our system creates huge profits by deliberately killing people, which is not the way the healthcare system works. If that were true, life expectancy in the United States would have declined over the course of, say, the last 50 years, rather than radically increasing over the course of the last 50 years. The regulatory environment in the United States, as we've discussed for healthcare, is a complete mess. But Bernie says he could just cut that Gordian knot by suggesting...
We have a life expectancy rate that's like 5 years lower than Europe on average. And some of it is obesity and car crashes, sure. But it's not a mistake that the only private-dominated system, the private market system we have, the only private market system by a wealthy country is ranked so low. And our life expectancy is not going up nearly as fast as other countries. We actually are hitting like a plateau. So talk about the past 50 years, sure, but everything got better in the past 50 years since like 1970, of course. That's such a dumb example to bring up. But you see Ben here struggling, because his first video about this was saying how the evil revolutionary, evil leftists are going to come and kill everyone. Now he needs to talk about the right wing too, because a lot of right-wingers are mad about it.
Saying the reason that healthcare isn't better is because we need to nationalize it, and anyone who doesn't want to nationalize it wants grandma to be murdered.
The function of our current system, however, is simply to make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies, who made $100 billion in profit last year while people die because they don't get to a doctor on time.
Bernie Sanders did not just say what Ben Shapiro said he said. Because he said, Bernie said like, oh, they purposely murder people to make money. Bernie just said they make money off of this system. They want to make profits. That's their main motivation. That's 100% true. Ben Shapiro just misquoted Bernie and showed the clip of Bernie disproving what Ben Shapiro said.
Again, the basic notion that Bernie Sanders is spewing there, this Marxist notion.
The basic notion, the Marxist notion.
That profit is inherently some sort of grave
propaganda. This propagandizing of any topic is so bad.
Evil. And if you just got rid of the $100 billion in profit, then magically healthcare would get better. There are non-profitable systems. They're called nationalized healthcare systems, and the outcomes are not better. Okay, so it's just not true.
They are better.
True. But
not nationalized. That's a very different word. But systems that have a public option, or if they have like Australia, a two-tier system where you can be on their Medicare program, everyone can be universally, and you could also buy private options. There's so many different forms of healthcare and regulation and different systems we can try. Talking about nationalized healthcare systems, I think only the UK has that. But, you know, we have a lot of medical debt in America that doesn't exist anywhere else. So Ben is just lying. He's just lying, dude.
But it's a sexy argument to many people on the left. It's even a sexy argument to some people on the right. Again, there are demagogues on the right who will do the same exact routine. Well, look at these systems. You know, it's very difficult for young families to buy single-family housing. That must be because there's a coterie of elite who don't care whether you can get single-family housing, who want to exploit you, who want to harm you. And we should go after those people. This sort of demagoguery exists.
They want to exploit. They don't care about harm, but they do want to exploit. And sometimes exploiting comes with harm. It really depends.
Across the aisle. What's funny, again, is depending on the context in which it crops up, you'll see different crowds condemning it. We'll get to more of this.
Like, if it was profitable to help people get housing, there would be companies doing it. If it was profitable to do good things, companies do that. But usually it's profitable to do bad things because bad usually ends up with waste and restricting access to consumers or restricting care to people. So yeah, I mean, if it was good for companies to give good healthcare and perfect healthcare to everyone, if it was somehow profitable to end homelessness, that would be done already. There'd be a million companies. If it was profitable to end homelessness, dude, that'd be done. But I guarantee you companies, if they did that, would try to bring back like slavery or something. So
diversify. So to take a completely, the exact same argument, but now applied to a different context. Yesterday, Daniel Penny was acquitted in New York, as he well should have been. Daniel Penny is a hero. Daniel Penny was protecting people on a subway from the predations of a mentally ill, deeply schizophrenic drug abuser who was threatening them physically, according to witness testimony.
All right, this is Cope. I'm ending my reaction here. We already got the points across about the healthcare system. That's all I care about. Americans need to care about healthcare. Ben Shapiro needs to bring it back to a culture war topic to run away from the economic topic. We're not going to broadcast that, okay? So remember, culture war is BS. No more crying about pronouns. No more crying about, you know, there's trans people that are going to go in the bathrooms. Stop being a baby. Let's talk about building systems that support our communities, equal rights for everyone, civil liberties for everyone, respect other people, respect our neighbors, and look at systems that are currently not good and make them better. It's our government's job to serve our citizens and give us the best possible system. And we don't condone what happened. Maybe some of you internet people do, very jokingly, in memes, you know, jokes, all memes. We don't condone what happened. But we do need to recognize that private health insurance does not work. As a private market, the incentives do not produce better outcomes. The free market, from very basic principles, only works if the incentives are in the right places to benefit society. Any market in which the free market's incentives are geared towards hurting the society should be heavily regulated or should be ran by the government so that the people, us, we can come together and put all of our money towards healthcare instead of having 30% of our money go to profits and 20% go to paying people who are going to deny our claims. If you think we need a left wing with liberals and progressives who do not alienate voters through purity testing, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I believe we need more accessible messaging combined with sweeping policy that can truly transform this country and change this terrible political culture that we currently have.